More questions? Right there.
Over your time since 2005, could you tell us about a time where you had to make a decision and really challenged your values?
Challenge our values, yeah. So business model, I think, is one of the biggest, right? Look, especially as a self-financed company, there is a lot of pressure to make money. And there's a lot of ways that we can make money that would not be very well aligned with our customer, right? So one example is selling data. Man, we had so many people that wanted to buy our data, and we kept saying no. I think one of the things that I think we did right was we really tried to make sure, especially as the team scales, it's really important for the company to know like what your values are, right? And values are actually, they're not. The way I think that we try to think about it, they're actually like, these are strategic for your business. Like, we chose values that we think help our business succeed, right? One of them is, when our customers succeed, we succeed, right? So like, what we really wanted the whole team to focus on was, how do we help our customers become more successful at reaching their health and fitness goals, right? If you do that, then if you have a product that works and that people love, then everything else is easier, right? It's easier to grow, it's easier to make money, it's easier to do all those things if people love your product, right? And so, when we created that value, that really helped us along with a lot of these decisions, because something like, hey, we can make money this way. Well, you know what? Like, that doesn't align with that value. It's actually like bad for the customer, because then they don't trust us with their data, then they won't give it to us, then we can't help them succeed, right? I think like finding that alignment is really powerful, right? If you can do that, everything gets a lot simpler and a lot easier. Simplicity is another thing that is like really, really helpful. Another thing that we've found is like the less complex our business is, right? The more focus we had. Things like, you ideally want one revenue stream. You don't want like 10 revenue streams. You want one revenue stream that you think can be really, really big, right? Like when we set goals for the company, we've struggled with this too. Like we would really like to have one goal, right? We have 100 people, and we want one goal that the entire team is thinking about. That would be ideal to us. We got it down to 3, and we're unhappy, right? And you would think like 100 people, you can do all these things, but you can't, right? Like and especially as a small startup, like you guys definitely should have one goal, like, and know what that is. What's the most important thing in your business right now to help you succeed, and do only that and nothing else. Right? That focus is really, really powerful.
Is your business model still advertising based?
So I said that you would love to have one business model, and that's, I think, from pain that we are feeling, because we have a lot more than one business. So we have a subscription business where, and that's actually the way that we would really like to make the bulk of our revenue, right? Is where people are paying us because they love our product and it's providing value to them. But we still have a really big ads business. We're also looking at like how we can drive conversion, shirts and shoes sales for Under Armour. Mm-hmm. So that, unfortunately, with the reality of our business, there's a lot of things that we're having to tackle. But we keep looking at, well, how can we get really this down to one that we think is most powerful?
I think if you identify the right kind of business model, the benefit you get is that you have this really tight alignment between the things that you're doing to grow and the things that you're doing to make money. And I think there are actually a lot of circumstances where those things are actually different, which means that like essentially you need twice as much effort, right? Because you're doing one thing to grow and you're doing another thing to actually make money from that growth. And so, that's something I think is another thing that you have to really examine as you think about business models for the company, is like, what is that thing where once that's in place, all I have to do is like keep trying to get people to use my product and the money's going to come in.
Yeah. I would also challenge you on that a little bit, because advertising is a tricky business model, because it creates two divergent sets of customers. You have the people who are using your app, and then you have the people who are actually paying you to run ads in your app or on your site. And very often those have very different interests. Like the advertisers want data, they want tracking, pixels. They want, you know, as many ads as possible. They want to say whatever they want. You don't necessarily want that for your customers, right?
That's right. That's right. No, that's been a struggle for us, right? You know, like as an example, a lot of the advertisers that want to advertise in our app are companies where their foods are not really that healthy. They kind of want to be associated with a healthy brand. And you know,
how do you decide?
We don't do it, right? That's another. It's hard. Like the hardest. There's definitely ones that are clear no's, right? Then there are others where like it starts to get a little fuzzy, and so where like, okay, some of their stuff is healthy, some of it is not. So we actually have like guidelines that we've set where in certain parts of the app where the relationship is much more, you know, at arm's length, then we'll allow those advertisers in. In other places where like we're endorsing them, so like something like a sponsored content or something like that, we won't allow those advertisers in there. But you know, to your point, like it's got to stay aligned with your customer. Ultimately, like everything depends on your customer, right? If your customer isn't happy using your product, then you know you're only making short-term gains. In the long run, you know your business is going to fail if you know, customers don't love your product.
Yeah. Yes.
What's the plan for MyFitnessPal after being acquired by Under Armour? Are you gonna keep working on developing the app, or are you gonna just quickly jump onto another one for like similar to Nike Plus or Nike Fitness?
So I can't talk too much about our product plans, but I can tell you that you know, one of the things that we really liked about Under Armour is they had actually a very clear mission too, which is to make athletes better. Right, which is actually is really close. And they think of athletes very broadly. Like everybody in this room is an athlete to Under Armour, right? And so, you know, that mission's very well aligned with ours. So we have a lot of, again, product ideas around how we can do that. And that's how we try to start every conversation, right? Or every strategic direction. It's about first start with the customer. What does the customer need? What can we build to help serve the customer? Once you have that, then you can figure out business model, you can figure out marketing strategy, all that kind of stuff. But like, again, at the end of the day, if the customer doesn't like your product, it's really hard to sell it, grow, whatever, right? So that's kind of where everything comes from that.
Hi, I'm Tabang from Johannesburg, South Africa. And I just wanted to find out, when you are looking for ambassadors for your company, or when you did, what is it that you are looking for them to add value to your company outside obviously having a large audience?
Ambassadors for a company. So do you mean like employees that we would
Well,
hire?
people in the like professional athletes who are like endorsing your company. So obviously they must have a great reach, but what value are they adding to your company? What exactly are you looking for? So put it another way, if they were to send a proposal to you, what would you be expecting to see inside of that proposal?
Yeah. You know, that's where I think the brand really comes in, right? So like, if you look at all the athletes that Under Armour has signed, they're really good people. They actually have like a personality that is the right fit. You know, like Jordan Spieth, I don't know how many of you guys are golfers, but like, this guy is like one of the most down-to-earth, like just super hardworking, super focused, not arrogant, right? And like
Or maybe Misty is even a better example.
yeah, Misty Copeland is another one, the ballerina. Every one of these guys, Steph Curry, same way, right? You know, I think, you know, obviously there's, you know, how popular the athlete is it in a sport that we care about? Not that we care about, that's like a priority for us, right? You know, their skill set on the field, but then, you know, at the end of the day, that are they a good fit with our brand? You know, really matters. There's an image that Under Armour really wants to portray, that Under Armour is about, and they have to align with that.
Yes.
I'm Jason. I'm going to ask some more fundamental questions. I think that you guys like really nailed at it when you guys launched the product, and that's like just building a great product. But nevertheless, there's going to be some types of flaws in your product, and I'm really curious on how you guys how you guys have found out some of those flaws that you can make your product better. Did you use call your customers? Because they don't mix panel quality didn't exist back then, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably hard for you guys to know what exactly you're missing.
Yeah.
Like what are some of the features that you guys are missing?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So I think, what Mike was saying earlier about kind of really understanding from a value standpoint what drives your business. And that idea that for us, since we did no paid marketing essentially for the first, I don't know, forever. I don't think
After that $20 a month of AdWords, like we stopped, and we literally have done $0 in marketing since.
But this idea of customer success being the real driver of the business, it actually changed how we thought about, well, how do we understand what that means? And how do we make sure that we're attentive to what the customers need? So like one of the things that we did early on is we actually hired a customer support person as like one of the first 7 people or 6 people in the entire company. And I don't think that would have been something that other companies would have invested in at that point. But primarily because we wanted someone great who was obviously out there listening to customers, and we certainly wanted someone who could turn customers who may or may not be having problems with our product into advocates for the product, and customer support can really do that if it's done well.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is we actually spend a lot of time ourselves, like I'll be honest, I used to spend 2 to 3 hours a day answering customer email myself. For probably 3 years I did that.
Yeah.
It was one of the first things I would do in the mornings. I would just sit there and I would go through all the things that customers would write us about. But it gives you a ton of insight into what are the challenges they have, what are the problems that they're seeing. And I think the big advice from a product perspective is to always think of it that way, because a lot of times customers will actually write in and they will try to provide solutions. But what you're really trying to understand is the problem, and it's your job to think about like, well, how do I effectively solve that problem in the product?
Yeah, they're really good at telling you what the problems are. They really suck at telling you what the solutions are. That's your job, right, is to come up with the right solution. But yeah, even today, we still have everybody at the company answer customer service emails. At least like once or twice a year, they have to do that. You got to stay in touch with your customer.
We have another thing that we did that was actually really awesome is we created these, essentially we would have every quarter maybe 3 or 4 of our customers come in, and they'd actually talk to our whole company about their experiences using the product. And we might actually, from each session, we might actually focus it on a particular area. So one was like people who had lost more than 100 pounds. And what were the ways they were using the product? What were the things they found hard about it? How did they even feel as they were using it? To people who were once, top-level college athletes, and what is their experience like? And it's funny because part of it is like getting feedback about the product, but a lot of it is just making sure that everyone in the company feels really connected to the customer. Mm-hmm. So it's less about the specifics of like that dialogue, because you're only talking to 3 or 4 customers at that point. Of many millions of them that are out there, but just really galvanizing the fact that there are real people using the product, and you always need to be thinking that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like we spend a lot of effort trying to bring the team close to the customer. It's like every single conference room that we have has an actual customer quote is on the wall, right, in big letters. We do these user panels. We're actually doing one this week. So we have like a bunch of users coming in to talk to us. When we make decisions, we think about, and we make sure the team knows that we're thinking about the customer, what's best for the customer, right? And we have like these pillows with before and after pictures from all our customers. Like everything, I don't know, again, if you pick your values right, there are things that you live and breathe every day. They have to be things that like matter to you as a founder, right? That you want to matter to your team, and then you have to like make them matter, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a lot of what we did. There's stuff like we thought in the beginning, when we were trying to figure out values, people were, suggesting like honesty and integrity, and we were like, oh my God, like if we have to put those as values down, like we're screwed, right? Like your company is screwed if you have to tell people that they have to be honest, right? Like that should be obvious, right? So we just cut all that crap, right? And we figured out like what are the only things that we want people to think about, like. We had like a list of like 20 things or something like that, and we ended up with 3. So those 3 things are when our customers succeed, we succeed, and speed. Our team is everything. That's another value for us, and then we go fast. That's another one, right? Like,
That sounds like the same thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but like, speed is another one. Like, you got to go fast. A lot of these markets that people are going, you guys are all going to go after, they're winner take all. So if you're not first, if you're not number one and the best, you're going to lose, right? There's no second place.
I think some good advice that we got around thinking about values, there was two things that I thought were really good. One is, like, I think to the question that was asked earlier, you want to think really hard about what you would not do if this was something that you valued. And that's actually like a way to test if you actually have selected a good value, is to figure out if there's a hard choice and what the decision would actually be. And so I thought that was actually a really helpful piece of advice that someone had given us. I think the other thing to really think about here is, like, and this is really important to the people in this room, is like, as the founders of these companies, no matter what you choose, like, a lot of what's going to happen is, like, people are going to follow your lead. So it doesn't really matter what you say, right? It's not like words you put in a frame and you stick on the wall. It's really about, like, well, how do you act? Are you somebody that, like, emphasizes speed in what you're doing? Like, are you always thinking about the team above the individual? And, if you're not actually able to really be an example of those values in the business, then, like, they're the wrong values for you, for sure.
Right.